Hey guys, this is Shannon with AVA Direct, and today we're looking at the newest HTC Vive Pro. So unlike the previous generation HTC Vive, this one comes with some improvements and one hell of a price tag. So just to give it kind of an opening, the existing Vive has been reduced to $499, or let's say $500 for a good even round number. This headset right here, with its link box. Let's just get rid of these guys and get rid of these that look like speakers, but they're not. We'll explain that later. So these are our lasers because, you know, sharks with lasers, awesome. This right here, 800 bucks. So now let's take a look at what this headset, the new Vive Pro, has to offer, and is it worth the massive jump in price versus the existing Vive they have now. So this is the full kit. This is what they call the business edition or the non-consumer version. Basically, this is the one like businesses buy because you need a commercial license to use it in display. A lot of the stuff we do with training and simulation around HTC Vive, which is one of the reasons we're an HTC Vive partner, is based on the fact that companies need these kind of kits to train new people, things like that, and to train with new technology. Well, that being said, this is the only way you can get all the next gen hardware right now. Because as you can see, these lighthouses are not like the previous HTC Vive ones. They're not just little flat squares. They're curved. They have a much larger field of view, a much further distance they can throw. You're talking the difference of about a 15 foot by 15 foot play area on the existing Vive versus these new lighthouses will cover roughly a 33 foot by 33 foot area, or 100 meters squared. So that being said, this is obviously being focused for much larger than room scale. This is like something where you're talking training grounds, multi-person VR, something like our new EMEA VR project is going to be working on is going to be using things like this. You also have a second gen controller, which is actually very similar to the original controller, but it has different sensors to pick up the new lighthouse beams, our wonderful laser death rays from HTC, that will pick up your positional tracking at a further distance and at a wider angle at close proximity. So now let's dive into some of the headset differences that we have between the existing Vive. Now first and foremost, let's dig into the tech part. This is where the resolution comes into play. The existing Vive is 2160 by 1200. So that's 448 pixels per inch. So that means every inch has 448 pixels within it. Well, then you have this new Vive, the Vive Pro, is 2880 by 1600. So 615 pixels per inch, which that translates to finer detail. Similar to like if you take a 4K screen on your PC, you'll notice when you're in games that support 4K and have 4K textures, when you get closer to something, it is a much finer detail. You don't pick up the jaggies and all that stuff along with the aliasing that you normally would see. So that's a huge bump for this. But that means something else. That means it's also obviously going to take more compute horsepower. So previously, where the Vive would support, let's say, roughly a 970-ish with RX 480 as a minimum requirement, now they're recommending for Vive Pro, while you can get away with a 1060 as a minimum, they're recommending something around a 1070 or something like a Vega 56 to make sure you can push this at a good steady 90 hertz or 90 FPS. Because if you don't push that, you can start to get skipping, you can start to get some stuttering, things like that, which will make a pretty bad play experience. Now, something else about the displays themselves. Inside, behind each eye, those are AM OLEDs, so active matrix versus a standard OLEDs that were on the Vive. And this means now you have the TFTs right behind the rear of the display, allowing each pixel to be individually controlled, and it creates a much better and faster refresh to when those pixels are on or off to create a really good in-depth experience with hopefully lack of ghosting. We've just started testing this thing, and so far the resolution is pretty awesome, but we still have a lot of testing to do to see exactly how great this thing is. Now, one thing that's a give or take with this new headset is with this new link box, you'll notice there's a single connector. There previously was a power connector, an audio connector, and your HDMI that went up to the headset. Now you'll see it has a single proprietary connector. You plug this guy in and you're ready to go. Now, from a cable management aspect, this now means that you have a much simpler cable run if you're running this wired. You have a much simpler cable run. It's a single wire versus a large bulky set of wires. So that's good. However, proprietary can be bad as well, because let's say this cable fails. It's not easy to swap out like an HDMI cable or even a shorter one. Let's say you have a VR backpack. that could be a little more troublesome. So that's one thing to consider when you have this is, let's say, for instance, your cable goes bad going from your headset. Previously, if an HDMI cable went bad, you could easily run another one, bundle them together, and probably get away with it. For the most part, it looked like just a standard HDMI cable. This is not the case. It's a proprietary design cable, but being the fact that it eliminates some of the cable clutter you had with the previous one, I would say it's a good omission. It's a good compromise. Then you have the deluxe audio strap. You all remember that when the original HTC Vive launched, it had a soft strap going all the way around, and you had like a audio cable that came through. You'd hook your headphones to it. This has a hard audio strap, just like the deluxe strap they released later, but it has better overall technology in the headphones themselves. They can be tilted away so you can hear someone near you, or you can even completely take them off. You can actually take these off completely and use your own headphones if you prefer that kind of level of fidelity, but the option's there for you to use the ones that are integrated, and these actually do have, in my opinion, better overall sound than you get with the original deluxe audio strap that came with the Vive headset. This Vive headset also includes 2 microphones, so it actually has noise canceling, so if you're talking within the game, the microphones can pick you up and you don't need a separate headset with microphone. It also has 2 cameras, which I have not seen used yet by developers, but there's potential there to have some sort of augmented reality environment or something to where they can use these 2 front cameras to do object detection, along with, who knows, multiple other things that can be potentially used in this space. I feel like that's really awesome. And the best thing about this hard audio strap is, unlike when you were ratcheting off all the Velcro before to try to adjust it to your head, if you got a big head like me, you just loosen this guy up. The only Velcro strap you have is the top one. You just adjust that to where you need, and it'll fit right on your head. But before, you had to adjust a bunch of straps, do a lot of finagling to get it where you needed it. The other part that's really good for the comfort aspect is, as you can see, the foam on the headset is really good, really plush. It tends to be, once again, I've used the original Vive for quite an extended period. This one tends to leave less of a mark on your face. You tend to feel less effect from wearing it long term. So if you're gaming for a few hours in VR, which is trying enough to begin with when you're gaming in virtual reality, but if you have discomfort, which the previous one wasn't uncomfortable, but you would definitely feel it on your face and you could actually see the outline after using it a while, this one I have yet to see that over quite a few hours of playing with it. So that about wraps up the feature differences between the existing HTC Vive and the HTC Vive Pro like we have here. I feel like just overall, the better screens, the better overall visual clarity, AMOLED display, all that stuff can make a pretty big difference in your gameplay. The better acoustics through the integrated headset, if you decide not to use your own, all that stuff adds up, along with the ease of cable management with the new cable design. That could be something that's really useful. But my question is it useful for you? Let's say you have an existing Vive right now and you want to upgrade to the headset. You're talking $800 on top of that. So is it worth it for you? I guess it really comes down to, if you see a problem with your existing Vive, if you can see some of the jaggies and you think, you know what, I want that better clarity, then absolutely go with the Vive Pro. If you've never used HTC Vive, maybe pick up the regular HTC Vive now for $500, and then you already have, which, by the way, this is backward compatible, so you're already going to have lighthouses and controllers that will work with the Vive Pro, and you can upgrade for $800. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for a consumer model coming down the road, which will likely be north of the $1,000 range. I'm not 100% sure when the consumer version comes out with all these components, how much it'll cost at this time, but figure it's going to be quite a bit more than $500. So when you take the $500, $800, you're talking, I mean, a significant, talk about $1,300 investment, but you get the full newest setup, and who knows, maybe you can even offset it by selling the headset if you really wanted to, headset and link box to offset some of the cost for a couple $100, and then it's a moot point. But either way, the Vive Pro, definitely an awesome headset. Price, not so awesome, obviously. I mean, all of us want to have something where it's easily accessible, really low price, but overall with the technology built in, I feel like we have a clear winner with the HTC Vive Pro. I look forward to using it more and even doing some live streams with you guys where you can see us playing VR on the HTC Vive Pro and you can see how much we enjoy it. Maybe it'll spur some enthusiasm with you guys. We've got full HTC Vive compatible VR ready systems to build for you guys, make an awesome gaming setup, and we can even include a Vive Pro eventually in the package for you to have as a complete VR ready turnkey solution. And with that, we want to thank you for joining us here checking out the newest HTC Vive Pro. I really hope you like it. Maybe consider grabbing one up with a VR ready system from us if you don't have a VR capable system yet. You can also buy Vive separately directly from AVA Direct. Please, if you like this content, let us know. Let us know what you'd like to see next. And be sure to join us on our next product overview, where we're going to look at new tech goodies, toys, all kinds of cool hardware, things we use in our AVA Direct systems every day. If you're looking forward to some great content coming out of our team here at AVA Direct, please join us on our social media channels such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And be sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you get notifications when we upload brand new videos to get you the newest in tech every day. Okay, I think I got the speakers or laser beam emitters or death rays, whatever they are. These things, the lighthouses, I got them in the right place. You can actually see them now. Because it turns out when I put them here, they're invisible. There's a shield here.